It's time to pull those belts tight, race fans. The front stretch is coming at you, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Dirk Houston.
Well, good morning to you, race fans, and welcome to the front stretch presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. Fast-paced white-knuckle racing just across the river on 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs. Get over to Joe's today. Do yourself right with a little indoor kart racing at Joe's Karting. Get more information on hours and pricing at joeskarting.com. Again, karting with a K. And when you get done racing over at Joe's, take that race receipt over to Quaker Steak and Lube and get yourself 10% off of your bill at the official watering hole of the front stretch. And by the way, they have a new menu item that I'm a huge fan of, tater tots. Now, they've had some pretty good fries over the years. I've definitely enjoyed their fries. Those are the kind of fries that, you've got like 10 of them left in your plate, and you're like, all right, I'm done eating. But then as you sit there waiting for the bill, you keep munching on them because they are pretty tasty. These tater tots are not going to make it to the end of the meal. Hands down, no questions asked.
Especially if you got a girlfriend.
Yeah. Everybody I have recommended the tater tots to has said they are phenomenal. They're nice and crisp and crunchy. They're fried to perfection and seasoned amazingly. Make sure when you order your entree at Quaker Steak and Lube, the next time you're down there, that you order tater tots to go along with it. And if you got to substitute the fries, pay the extra. I think it's 75 cents or $1. Pay the extra amount because it is well worth it.
They charge you extra for the tater tots?
They do, unless it comes with fries or tots. But like my salad last night, the other night that we got together, didn't have tater tots with it, and she said it had been an extra $1 to add them on. And I was trying to be healthy, and get my Mexico body right. All right, we got a big show.
Correctly.
We got a big show lined up for you today. We're going to recap the race at ISM Raceway last weekend. We'll sit down with Adam Gullion to talk about the season for the 91 car and his plans. We'll also sit down with Bade Motorsports driver Ryan Kitchen to talk about the 21 Race Saver 305. And then at turn number 4, we will preview today's race at Auto Club Speedway, and we'll talk about it being the final day of the World of Wheels down at the CHI Center. By the way, quick plug, if you haven't been down yet, make sure you come down today and swing by our booth and say hi to us. We worked out a great deal to get a booth down at the auto show, and we've been interviewing a bunch of drivers all weekend long, so we want to come see you. We got a big list of drivers we have scheduled for today. You can go to our Facebook page and see that time. If you're a driver, promoter, car owner, sanctioning body president, whatever it be, and we haven't reached out to you, it's not because we don't want you on the show. It's because I just work 6 jobs and we don't have time to think of everybody. So just swing on down when we have one of openings on that schedule on our Facebook page. We'll sit down and do an interview with you.
And if our technology works out, since we're pre-recorded, if our technology works out, we will have the race on TV too.
Absolutely. That's fingers crossed. I've got it worked out in my head correctly. Today's the day we're going to find out if it works. All right, like we said, we're going to recap ISM Raceway today, and then for the online exclusive portion, we're going to recap a lot of the news that we haven't had a chance to get to over the last couple of weeks because we've been playing interviews and playing back all the interviews we did at the Precise Racing Products Open House. And then in the coming weeks, we're going to play back all the interviews we did at the World of Wheels Open House, or the World of Wheels Car Show presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. So we've got a lot of interviews we're going to be playing over the next, what do you think, 2.5 months?
Well, we've got a few we're going to splice in because just for things that are timely. We have to do them before Memorial Day, or we have to do them before, June 1st, whatever. We'll slide in a few, but that's the whole deal for us is when we get into our busy season, when the racetracks are running and we're doing a lot more stuff, that we can have these interviews that we can just plug into the show.
Mm-hmm. And like, for instance, we've been doing a lot of sprint cars lately. That happens to be because we were at the Precise Racing Products Open House, interviewing a lot of drivers about their first races, which happened to be that first race in Cameron, Missouri on the 30th, or over at Eagle Raceway on the 31st for the Rumble and the Bull Ring. And then some drivers, their first race is going to be the Bug Eater Bash at I-80 Speedway with the Nebraska 360. So we're trying to get all those interviews in before their first race, because then it becomes a little less time sensitive, a little less relevant, because the season has already started if we get the season started.
Yeah, well, it's June 1st, and we're going to start our season March 29th.
Yeah,
that doesn't make much sense. So we're trying. We've had some issues with that in the last couple of years, and that's just stuff we're working on. It's not like we've been in the radio business for a couple hundred years or everything, even though I'm real old, and Dan's just from Iowa. But
Hey, speaking of being just from Iowa, I got to send out our thoughts and prayers to everybody that was affected by the floods and the water damage. It's just I battled it. Let's see, Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, and Wednesday night was when I finally caught up to the water. And I've had a little damage in my house, nothing I can't handle, nothing I can't fix. So it's nothing bad, but I've got my girlfriend's sister has been displaced. Her whole apartment complex has been shut down. There's entire towns that have been evacuated. It is really, what do I want to say, awing at the amount of water that is rolling through the Midwest right now. We're saying our thoughts and prayers to all of those who are affected, because there's very few people.
Well, it's very widespread.
Yeah,
it's very widespread.
I'm surprised that I live so high on a hill that I do, that or in the bluffs of Council Bluffs, that I'm still having issues. And if I'm having issues, I can only imagine those people that are down on the plains. I can only imagine what they're going through.
Well, I spoke too soon when we had dinner the other night. I'd said I hadn't been affected, but when I got home, I had the proverbial drop in the bucket. I didn't have much, but I did have some water get in.
Let's get to ISM Raceway. Once again, we saw why Kyle Busch is regarded as one of the best drivers in our generation, picking up stage win number. He picked up the win in stage number 2, picked up the race win, and had an absolutely great car, and continued to work on that car and he didn't have the best car to start off with.
If there hadn't been a yellow there with 10 or 12 laps to go in that first stage, he'd have had the sweep. Mm-hmm. You know, they'd all waited, and but then it cycled around. So Ryan Blaney had a great short run car.
Absolutely.
Oh, he was a streak on the short run.
Absolutely.
But as it pulled up the end of the race, and he even got it adjusted and worked on to where he lasted a lot longer than what everybody thought he'd lead for about 50 laps there in that last stage. We ended up leading for, I think, about 85 laps there in that last stage. And
in total, he led 5 different times for 94 laps. Oh, okay. And he won stage number 1, so picked up a bonus playoff point. Let's see. And then I mentioned it, Kyle Busch picked up stage win number 2 and the win. So Kyle walked away with 6 bonus playoff points on the day, 56 points on the day, and Kyle now has 7 bonus playoff points after winning a stage earlier in the year. So, ISM, the first race, we took a little bit of a break. We've had 3 races with the new aero package, or a form of, we went away from at ISM Raceway, and now we're going to go back to it today at Auto Club Speedway. So it was kind of interesting to watch these guys work with cars that had the full horsepower back in the old aero package, and I was really surprised, I probably shouldn't have been, how much they were cutting that dog leg down along the front stretch.
Yeah, it's so funny here at the front stretch, because I'd been there before when it was the back stretch. And they were talking to Harvick during the Xfinity race on Saturday, and somebody had cut down, and they were having a trouble on a pit stop. And when they checked out to see what it was, Kevin Harvick said, I did that exact same thing in practice the other day. He cut down too late, and when the track transitioned, he broke the jack stand off of the
bolt, the jack bolt.
Yeah. Well, not jack bolt, the knob. They've got a piece of tubing about 4 inches long where they put the jack on the side of the car.
Yeah.
He broke that off. So they didn't have a place to put the jack.
Well, something like similar to that happened with Brad Keselowski. He had a very good car early on, but then his car just went away from him. He said it feels like the car is out of the track. Or no, that was Kyle Busch that was saying that early. But Brad Keselowski's car just got worse and worse and worse as the day went on, and they were looking at some replays early, and he was one of the first cars that cut down, and you could, even in the daylight, you could see the sparks coming out of the back of his car, because those cars are so fine-tuned that they can't take the beating like, you can run down a dirt road in your old Chevrolet and it could bounce around and be just fine.
Well, yeah, but where you've got that stop that you put your jack under to jack your car up on pit stops, you break that off during the race, which is what this Xfinity driver did. That's what caused their real terrible pit stops. But like Kevin said, we were able to go ahead and fix it because I did it in practice. But he said you had to cut down early, and you're trying to make the track almost an oval. He said if you wait until you get too far into the banking, too far towards the dogleg before you cut across, he goes, that's when you bottom out real bad. And I watched Brad Keselowski's live thing after he was leaving the racetrack Sunday evening, probably 6 o'clock, 6:30. He was actually heading to Jackson Hole, Wyoming to go do some snowmobiling with some family and some crew. But he said that deal at the beginning where it looked like he broke something in the right front and all the sparks, he said all he did was cut a tire down. Didn't break a piece.
Really?
He goes, that's why he was able to come back and finish 19th. The car was fine.
Well, and now that I'm thinking about it, they did that cutaway. They think maybe there was some bar that they think might have rubbed on the tire when it was low on pressure early in the race and worn it down to where then later on in the run, it eventually cut loose.
Yeah, he thought he ran something over.
Yeah.
He goes, I was trying to run in a higher line than a lot of guys. And he goes, I think I just ran over a piece of junk, and I cut that tire down. But it was just at the absolute worst place at that track to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a chance to get slowed down. He goes, it was between the start-finish line and turn one. And he goes, my hands were tied. He goes, I couldn't do anything. He goes, I got woed down as much as I could. The guy that did a real good job avoiding that was Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece was trying to go high and was able to avoid any contact at all. So
bad day for Alex Bowman. He ended up finishing 35th. Eric Jones, 29th. Daniel Suarez, 23rd. And Brad Keselowski, like we were just talking about, one spot into the top 20 at that 19th position. Like I mentioned earlier, Kyle Busch got the win. Martin Truex Jr. ends up getting by Blaney late in that race to pick up the second place finish. Blaney in third. Eric Almirola in fourth and Denny Hamlin fifth. Kyle Larson, Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, and Joey Logano round out your top 10. There's been a lot of conversation about Kurt Busch. He is doing a lot with that one machine at Chip Ganassi Racing. 4 races in a row where he's had really good races.
Well, for whatever reason, when you see him make a big change in his racing career, when he first came to Stewart-Haas, he started out hot like this. It's almost like he refocuses himself.
Yeah.
But
I want to correct myself. 3 races in a row that he's had really good races. Didn't have a good race at Daytona, involved in an accident, finished 25th. But you hate to say it because it does nothing but make a driver look bad. But he is definitely making that car work a lot better than Jamie McMurray was. Yeah. And we've seen this, like you were just mentioning. We've seen it with a lot of drivers. Sometimes just a change of scenery at the shop, the manufacturer, the crew chief, that's what really sparks new ideas and kind of getting you out of your rut. And it's not just athletics, it's everyday life. You're in a rut, change up your routine a little bit and just see what happens.
Well, and another thing, he's bringing over a few things that they were doing at Stewart-Haas.
Right.
I know we're doing this, and so let's try this and let's try that. And some of it appears to be working, and some of it might not work with the way that, the Chip Ganassi stuff is set up. So it's if he can maintain it, that'll be great. Another guy that kind of came out of nowhere for a good run was Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah. Hendrick Motorsports has struggled mightily over the last couple of weeks since they left Daytona. And Jimmy Johnson was the best of the Hendrick Motorsports drivers, followed by Chase Elliott in 14th.
Where'd Jimmy end up? 6th?
9th. 8th.
Okay.
Kevin Harvick was 9th.
Okay. So he ended up in the top, and I think he started 18th, if I'm not mistaken. So, a nice improvement for him, but 15th. It's the first 15th. Mm-hmm. But still, it's a 7-spot improvement.
And
the way his career, and the way his last 40 races have been, just have not been good.
Well, and just remember, he's got a new crew chief. They're not going to jump right into it winning races left and right or even battling for top 5s.
Well, they might.
They've got some makeup to do as far as the Chevys are concerned. They're still not up to speed with the Fords and the Toyotas. They're better than they were this time last year or even mid-season last year. But Chevy still has some gains to make, and Hendrick Motorsports has some gains to make. The 48 will take time, and maybe this is the beginning of them starting to establish themselves in the top 10s.
But, Chase Elliott started outside pole, and you said he held on for, 14th?
Yeah.
So, that's not going in the right direction. Alex Bowman, he created his own problems by getting into the wall a couple times.
Point standings after 4 races. Kyle Busch is your points leader and also your playoff bonus point leader. Kyle Busch with 177 points and 7 bonus playoff points. Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, and Brad Keselowski, the other 4 drivers already locked in because of race wins. Kyle Busch, your points leader, followed by Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick in 3rd, Denny Hamlin in 4th, Martin Truex Jr. 5th, Larson, Almirola, Keselowski, Kurt Busch, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. round out your top 10
and to go
for
back
points.
To some of the stuff we were just discussing with the way Chevrolet's a little bit behind. We're 4 races into the season. You got 2 Ford wins. You got 2 Toyota wins. Chevy's nowhere to be found. They had trouble getting a win last year, and for whatever reason, that struggling's just continuing.
Kyle Larson is the highest running Chevy in the point standings at 6th, 138 points. He's 39 behind the leader. 1 stage win and 1 bonus playoff point to his record. The next driver, Kurt Busch, his teammate, in 9th. That's where your 2 top Chevy runners are. When was the last time you could ever say that Chip Ganassi Racing was leading the pack for the Chevys?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Let's talk about a couple of the news and notes that we haven't had a chance to get to over the last couple of weeks because we've been so busy with interviews. Earlier in the week, NASCAR announced the new nominees for the next list for the 2020 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. The 6 drivers, Tony Stewart is probably the biggest one that was added to the new list.
He's probably the sure thing.
Yeah, 3-time NASCAR champion and team owner who's won championships along with that. And then Neil Bonnet was also added as a part of the new list. Sam Ard was a former NASCAR Xfinity Series driver, pioneer and 2-time champion. Daytona 500 winner Marvin Ponch, a short track master Jim Pascal, and the sport's first master mechanic Red Vogt. They were all added to the list of nominees.
Marvin Ponch, that was kind of one of them big upsets, back, I believe that was in the 70s when he won that, but he was a dirt big block modified driver from up in the Northeast. Mm-hmm. He was the man. He was Blomqvist of that era and in that car. And he's definitely deserving. But I don't know so much on a national scale as a regional scale though.
Well, he's gonna be added to a list of 20 drivers, 20 NASCAR people, whether it be owners, contributors, manufacturers, whatever, that are up for the nomination. But you would expect, like you said, Tony Stewart would probably be a first ballot Hall of Famer. They sent Jeff Gordon in first ballot. I think Gordon won 4 championships in his career, had an absolutely dominant time. Tony Stewart raced for 2 different organizations. One of them, Joe Gibbs, and then his own organization won a championship at both of them. 2 with Joe Gibbs, and then 1 at Stewart-Haas Racing. So he would probably be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he's going to go up against guys like Buddy Baker, Red Farmer, Ray Fox, Harry Gant, Joe Gibbs, Harry Hyde, Bobby Labonte, Larry Phillips, Ricky Rudd. There's a lot of really good names on here. Those will be highly debated over the next couple of months of who deserves to get in. The vote, I believe, takes place May 22nd. It's on a Wednesday. The list of nominees will be decided on both NASCAR Hall of Fame voting panel and a nationwide vote on NASCAR.com.
And keeping along with Hall of Fame, the Nebraska Auto Racing Hall of Fame is poised to enshrine 7 new members at this year's induction, October 12th in Lincoln. The 2019 class will include driver mentor Wayne Huntley of Hastings, driver Ray Lipsy of Lincoln, driver-journalist Bob Mays of Lincoln, driver Kenny McCarty of North Platte, driver and track owner Terry Richards Sr. of David City, mechanic Ed Smith of Lincoln, and drag racer Don Stevenson of Omaha.
Awesome. We'll have to get Stan on the show to kind of talk about those guys, and I'm sure you guys could too share stories about all those drivers.
Well, a couple of them, but if you remember when we were out at Precise, I had asked Stan specifically about Don Stevenson.
Yeah.
And boom, there he is.
Stan's been he's the one he was talking about. He's been trying to get him on for years.
Yep.
Good to hear. Another one of the news stories we wanted to get to. This one kind of took me a little bit by surprise. NASCAR has announced that they will begin enforcing speeding limits on pit road during Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series qualifying.
Yeah, where they ran into this was at Vegas, and everybody sat there and waited until like 35 seconds to go, and then they were 100 mile an hour when they were hitting the exit on pit road, all going to get around the track, because of the draft and the qualifying.
So if you watched qualifying yesterday, being Saturday afternoon for Auto Club Speedway, you already saw this unfold. For those of you who missed it, if a driver exceeds pit road speeding exiting onto the track, they will be called back down pit road before becoming eligible to post a qualifying time. If a driver exceeds pit road speeds returning to pit road, they will have his or her time posted on the previous set of qualifying laps disallowed. So if you go out there and run a fast lap and then you come down and speed entering pit road, your time's going to be disallowed. You'll have to go back out.
Well, I think they just kind of threw that in there because that's not an issue. Most of the guys,
I don't think that'll be an issue.
Most of the guys, well, it could, because most of the guys, have turned their engine off and everything and are just trying to cool it down, with the air. So without having a tack and stuff, maybe they are coming in there a little hot. But I don't think that's an issue. But getting out of the pits will be. That's definitely something that's needed.
Something that's going to be talked about during pre-race for the coverage today for the Auto Club Speedway. Goodyear has announced they have updated their right side tires for today's race at Auto Club Speedway. The teams have had practice and qualifying to get used to those new right side tires. It's a multi-zone rubber, will feature more durable compound on the treads inside 2 inches with the outer 10 inches optimized for traction. Kyle Busch is on his way to hitting 200 NASCAR National Series wins today at Auto Club today. Actually, if he, I don't think he's qualified, checked in to race at for the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, I don't think he's running the Xfinity out there.
But a lot of conversation the last the week or so since he got to 198 and 199 of his 200 wins. And I think the general consensus amongst most people, those that don't like him, hate the fact that he is getting close to anything resembling a Richard Petty record. But those of us those that don't really have anything against him and just frankly enjoy watching him win, it's a different set of 200.
Well, and he's even said that himself.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm not even in that class with Richard Petty.
Yeah.
He goes, I've done what I've done and I enjoy racing, So he goes, I'm not comparing myself to Richard Petty. If for some reason I win another 150 Cup races, He goes, okay, then we can talk.
Right.
But he goes, I'm proud of what I've done. Don't get me wrong. And even Richard Petty said, he's in, a lot of Tier 2 and Tier 3 wins. And he goes, even after he started winning in the top tier, he's still going back and getting them. He goes, I won some second tier races and stuff when I started, but once I started winning big races, I didn't go back.
And there's nobody that's with the competition level today. They don't run, even with the competition level today. If Kyle Busch was to win everything, they don't run near as many races as they used to back in the day. I mean, you were talking, they used to run 50.
70, 75 races. They'd run dirt tracks, half-mile dirt tracks. They ran any place that they could, book a show. They'd run 3-4 times a week. Sometimes.
I always hate these arguments of the past legends with the current heroes. You always see the comparisons of Michael Jordan and LeBron James or Tom Brady and Joe Montana. And it's a completely different sport today that Kyle Busch is running in than it was when Richard Petty was running in it. And so it's nearly impossible to draw a comparison. And all I'm going to say about the whole thing is, I think Kyle Busch is one of the best drivers today. And I have been sold on his talent from when he was at Daytona. I want to say it was maybe 2013 or 2014 when his car got completely sideways, half on the apron, half on the track, and he saved it twice. That happened to him.
At 190 plus.
Right.
It wasn't where he was accelerating or slowing down. He was flat out.
To be able to do that, I was sold that he was the best driver of all time.
Anybody that argues he's not one of the top 3 or 4 guys out there, period, is just, you should just keep your mouth shut and keep your thoughts to yourself because you are wrong.
And the fact that the year that he won his championship, he had 10 less races to win his championship, and he met all the criteria for getting into the playoffs. And anybody that wants to argue with me that NASCAR gave it to him, I will gladly go at it with you because Casey Kane had 26 races to do it, and he couldn't even point his way into the top 16. Kyle Busch pointed his way into the top 20 with 10 less points races and got 5 wins to qualify himself for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, he played by the rules NASCAR set for him.
Right, that absolutely set him aside for me, and he made it into and he deserved to win that championship. I think his 200 wins puts him in the area of one of the greatest of all times.
Absolutely.
You can't compare him to Richard Petty, but he is one of the greatest.
Well, and I think he's only 33, 34 years old. He's got plenty of time, and I think he's got 51 Cup wins. I think that he's got plenty of time and plenty of talent, and he's in a great organization. For him to get to 100 wins is not a stretch, and it'll be the first person to do that, I think, since Darrell Waltrip, I think.
Yeah, I think he's 11th all-time on the NASCAR Cup Series wins.
I mean, he doesn't have all the championships Jimmy Johnson has, but I think he's going to surpass Jimmy Johnson in wins, unless he gets hurt. His career could end the next race. You never know. He should, and I mean, that means he's going to pass Jeff Gordon. That means he's going to pass Earnhardt. He's going to pass a lot of people before he's done, and I think he'll be in the top 5, maybe top 4 in wins when he's done.
Absolutely. That's going to do it for us in turn number 1. We appreciate everybody hanging tight with us. Adam Gullion, the Bull, just around the corner. He'll talk about his plans for the 91 machine in 2019. So will Ryan Kitchen, driver of the Bade Motorsports number 21, when he joins us in turn number 3. And then we'll be back in turn number 4 to wrap it all up by previewing today's race at Auto Club Speedway, talk about the final day of the World of Wheels Car Show, and we'll get you set. Actually, that's it. No more and. I got too excited with too many things.
And.
We'll be back on the front stretch.
Every race car driver has run into the same problem. It's well past normal parts store closing hours, but you need that one to finish your car. The guys who brought you White Knuckle Racing by the River bring you Joe's Karting Racing Parts and Tire Store. Open until 10 p.m. Monday to Thursday and open until 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. A parts store that fits your after-hours schedule, and you can turn a few laps at Joe's Karting while you're waiting for your part to get pulled from their warehouse. joeskarting.com for more information.
Racers all over the country are discovering the benefits of powder coating their chassis. Powder coating offers a clean, even finish you will be proud to show off to fans and sponsors. Plus, it's a more durable surface. While looking beautiful, powder coating offers superior protection against corrosive chemicals typically spilled during routine maintenance. Bare frames start at $275 with estimates available if blasting or reworking is needed. Get your quote today by emailing Jordan F. at redoakfabrication.com or by calling 712-623-4911.
Every driver is looking for the competitive edge, and fantasy racing is no different. Get the competitive edge on your league by subscribing to fantasyracingtips.com. Chad Robb, a member of the Fantasy Sports Writers Association, gives you great insight, statistics, and easy to understand information for each race. He'll give you the competitive advantage that'll put Benjamins back in your wallet. From DraftKings to season-long NASCAR fantasy leagues, Chad knows who you should take each race. Turn your fantasy season around at fantasyracingtips.com.
We're hooked up in turn 2 and still showing the green flag on the front stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch. Just about ready to do another Red Oak Fabrication interview. Need your chassis powder coated at an affordable price? Give Red Oak Fabrication a call today. 712-623-4911, or you can find them online at redoakfabrication.com. Give Jordan a call or shoot him an email, jordanf at redoakfabrication.com, jordanf at redoakfabrication.com. $275 to have your bare chassis powder coated. You can go to their Facebook page and check out all the great work they were doing. They did some posted some pictures just a couple days ago of some nice sparkle powder coating that they did. They added some graphics to it, so it's not just a flat color, but some really nice work there. And powder coating is a great opportunity to have for your chassis because it'll last against those corrosive chemicals a lot longer.
And also, most of the guys, like we've talked before, that probably got their cars done already for the year. But mid-season, if you got some parts replacements you're doing and you got to match up your colors, give them a call.
Yeah, they'll be turned around really, really quickly. Joining us now on the radio show, Adam Gullion, driver of the number 91 sprint car, and you're driving a lot of different engines behind that number 91 machine this year, aren't you?
Yeah, we're going to do some 305 racing, some 360 racing, some 410 racing. Working on a deal right now, on a midget deal for a 3 or 4 race deal, and then Chili Bowl. So a lot of different irons in the fire. Other people have had opportunities throughout their career where people have contacted them, and for one reason or another, whoever knows why or doesn't know why, my phone really never rang, but for some reason this off season it's rang quite a bit, and we've had quite a bit of opportunity. I think maybe a little bit of it was at the end of the year last year we used a 410 motor from Speedway Race Engines in Lincoln, and got to go run a couple outlaw shows, and that seems to have opened a couple opportunities or opened some doors for me. So it's not like we set the world on fire and ran well, but the Dodge City race was going pretty well, and we were getting close to the top 10 with quite a few laps to go, coming from the last row, and then the motor just shut off for one reason or another. So we had a pretty good showing there, and maybe that's kind of helped a little bit. I don't know, but we've got some opportunity to go and do a couple different things this summer, so it should be a fun summer.
Yeah, and you did run well this year, though. I know you've got pretty high standards for yourself, and if it's championship or bust for you.
Yeah, I'm my own worst critic. I've always been that way. Rather it was basketball in high school or racing or my businesses, my personal life. It never seems it's never really ever been enough. It's never been good enough. I've never been satisfied. So maybe some of that is I know it's super annoying for my wife. It doesn't matter how big something gets or how nice something gets. It can always be nicer. It can always be bigger. It can always be better. But I'm a very driven person, so maybe some of that or a lot of that has to do with where I've been able to get in my life. So, and I owe a lot of that to her too. So I wouldn't be where I am without her support. So
I don't think you get much better than her.
I think I could call God today and try and order a wife, and I don't think I could get better. So I'm pretty fortunate.
But you talk about wanting that little more. That's just competitive nature. And if a race car driver doesn't have that, he probably shouldn't be on the racetrack.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very passionate sport, and I am an extremely passionate person, very vocal. I've probably gotten myself in some situations or some stuff has happened because I've been so vocal. But, I think a lot of the stuff with the 305, a lot of recognition or a lot of the attention that I got with the 305 was because of a radio show that I did, about the 360, 305 that I did a couple years ago.
That is still one of my favorite shows.
It was very heated.
We should listen to it. I've got it.
I don't think we should do that.
I think we should.
It got pretty heated. I was very opinionated, but at the end, after running the 305, I went back on the show at the end of the year and ate crow.
You did.
Apologized. I manned up, which is something that seems like there's a lack of these days, where people, when they're wrong, they don't come back and say, "Hey, I was wrong. I apologize. I shouldn't have said that." But I've always tried to do that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ask my wife, I'm not wrong very often. So.
Well, I've enjoyed our friendship as it's grown over the last 2 years, and no shock to you, I've had to defend you to people because they don't like your attitude, they don't like the way you drive, they don't like this and that, and I'll always say our sport needs more of you guys. Now, if we had too many, then it would just be one giant fist fight at the end of every race night.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
But there's places for the calm and timid guys. And then there's places for the fiery stuff starter guys, and you're in that group. And I think you definitely serve your purpose in the sport, and the sport is better because of it.
I've always said I'm misunderstood, and I honestly believe that. If somebody knows me, they feel far different than the people that sit from afar and judge me.
Yeah.
The people that know me know that I would literally give them the shirt off my back. My friends are welcome to about anything except my wife and my kids. They can have anything I've got. A couple years ago, Stu Schneider used to race out of my shop. There was multiple occasions he took my rig, no questions asked.
Mm-hmm.
If I wasn't going somewhere, he took my toter or my trailer. And that's always the way I've been. But on the other side, if you screw me over, I'm going to be the first person to make you wish you never did that.
Mm-hmm.
And I will promise you'll never think about doing it again. So, like I said, I'm a very passionate person, and I pride myself on that. But the people that sit back and pass judgment on me that don't know me, I'm one of those people it's very easy to pass judgment on, and it's because I'm so vocal. So
yeah, and I think there's a lot of NASCAR guys that you could draw comparisons to with you. If our NASCAR fans are wondering who's this Adam Gullion guy and this fiery guy, I think
I'd rather have their paycheck. If I made their money, I'd be a hell of a lot more vocal than I am now.
Yeah, and I think I compare you a lot to Kyle Busch, but to Brad Keselowski.
I'm saying more to Tony Stewart.
Yeah, probably more Tony Stewart.
That's what I'm thinking.
I can only draw a comparison to this as to what you're just talking about there. I didn't like Brad Keselowski for a long time. He would spout up and talk, and I just think in the back of my head, just shut up and drive. Just shut up and drive. But the first time I met him, I was absolutely blown away at the respect he gave little old me. And I'm just some kid in Omaha that's doing a radio show. But he stopped and he made eye contact and he talked one-on-one with me and with Dirk. And he took time to talk to us. And I sat and watched him for the next half hour as he interacted with every fan. And every one of them in the exact same way. The same guy that was throwing fists at Texas with Matt Kenseth and causing issues with Denny Hamlin is the same guy that stopped a crowd of people and said, this disabled person gets my attention first, and talked to them for a few minutes and gave him his undivided attention. And I think you're in that same group. It could be a little intimidating to come up and talk to you, but once that ice is broken, it's easy to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm a people person. That's why I own a couple different businesses, but my roofing company is probably the one I'm most passionate about because I get to deal with a lot of different people on a day in and day out basis. I meet 10 homeowners a day, and it's always the sales aspect of everything has always been very easy with me because it's very easy for me to establish a common ground with somebody. You talk about Brad taking the time and stopping what he was doing and giving you his undivided attention. Those are things that show a professional.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that I've always hated about racing, how easy it is to judge and ridicule someone on their split-second 120-mile-an-hour decisions, and to sit in the grandstands with a beer in your hand and boo and hate someone that works 2 businesses 20 hours a day so that they can come out and race and put on a show for you because we love what we do, not knowing where my wife or children are sitting. They could be sitting right next to you. To sit and ridicule someone for the amount of passion and devotion we have for this sport is what I've always hated. It scares the ever-living crap out of me to have my son get a little bit older and not understand why his daddy's getting booed or flipped off or laughed at if he's in an accident. But I hope when that time comes that something like that does happen, that I can sit him down and have that conversation and he can understand the good and the bad about the sport. When I was younger, I didn't understand what racing actually gives you. The bad things, it just seems like racing always takes, and it's hard to find things that it gives you back. But what I've got to learn over the last few years, having my family with me, the things that I've got to take away from the sport are the relationships, the friendships, that we have. Like you said, our friendship has grown over the last few years, and really grown over the last year. And I have friends in Texas. I have friends in California. We've gone on vacation together. So that's the stuff that racing really, gives me back, that I enjoy, that I could never replace in any other form of anything. So that's what I appreciate. But the negative stuff is getting really tiring.
I was just going to ask that question. It's got to get old because you put a lot into it, and to be out there running around putting heat in your engine and hear people screaming at you. The fact you can hear them screaming at you over the sound of the engine has got to be rough.
Yeah, and then, I defend myself or say something back, and then it just gives me a bigger black eye. When I first had my son, I really dug deep to really try and change what people's opinion of me were. I tried to walk different, talk different, shut my mouth. And it really got me nowhere, but walked on. And I've
frustrated.
I've never done that in my life, and I'll never do it again. I'm nobody's speed bump. There's people, that we race against week in and week out that I don't like, and they don't like me. But the difference is we can go out to the parking lot right now, and I would love to do it, and they won't. So. I'm always been, if you're going to walk like a man, you're going to say things like a man. Let's finish it like a man. And they, for one reason or another, they would rather hide in their trailers. So, but yet I'm the guy at the end of the day that gets ridiculed for it. So
right. Well, I certainly enjoy watching your race on Saturday nights, and as the guy who's kind of got to generate some stories every once in a while, thanks.
Yeah. I've always told people for a long time, I have entertainment value. It's you never know if I'm going to run well, win, or flip my ass off. But there's always been an entertainment value to it. But I do racing like I do my everyday life. It's wide open. Whatever happens, happens. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you never really know what's going to come out on the other side until you do it. But if you're going to do it, you might as well be wide open.
What's your plans for 2019? We kind of talked a little bit. You got a lot of engines you're going to try to run.
The majority of the engine stuff really won't happen. The other stuff really will not interfere much. We're going to go back after an Eagle Raceway title. We're going to go back after an SSN title. We've done the SSN. They've ran that 3 years now, and we've got 2 of the 3 championships. And I think the third champion, or the other driver that won the championship, I think we only raced like 5 times. Everything else rained out. I mean, he ended up winning the championship, but out of 5 races, I don't call that a championship. But whatever, he got a trophy for it. So we're going to try and back up our SSN championships. We're definitely going to go after an Eagle championship again. We should have a couple championships.
Yeah, let me stop you there, because you've probably had a long off season, running that truck up and down to Texas and back.
Yep.
Have you put your thumb on what you can do, maybe just tweak a little bit different to finally get over that hump and win that championship?
We should have had a couple different championships, and for one reason or another, we haven't. It would be nice if It'd be really nice if Roger Hayden would get a piece of equipment that could weigh a race car accurately week in and week out. That would be really nice. You know, but the thing that I guess I could put my finger on that I think will change moving forward is our engine program. I felt we've always had a really good engine program, but I ran a Speedway engine at the Nebraska Cup last year, and I was hoping that I could get out once I got away from it and could digest what happened throughout the night. I was hoping I could call my motor builder and say, okay, we're a little off here or we're a little off here. I couldn't. There's nothing I could do, you know, to make. We were so far off. You know, I felt like we were pretty fast, and we have been pretty fast, competitive, you know, week in and week out. But compared to the Speedway stuff, I mean, I was throwing water balloons, and they had cannons. It's just, it's so much different. It's so much better in every aspect. It's easier to drive. It pulls off the bottom better. It's just, it's a better package. There's just no way around it. So
I actually heard somebody in the offseason say, I saw a Speedway on the side of that 91.
Yeah.
And it literally said, watch out.
Yeah.
Because I think that engine you had down in Texas was from Texas, right?
Yeah.
Good engine.
It was. It was.
You were going all the way to Texas when in the backyard you had a really good engine.
Yeah, but I don't like corporate America. It's hard for me to do business with corporate America because at the end of the day, I'm just a tally on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Where the people that I generally like to do business with, I'm a person. I try to stay loyal with them, and that's one of the reasons why I've always kind of shied away from, you know, the Speedway motors and stuff like that. That's why I have such a good relationship with Blake Robertson at BR Motorsports, King Racing Products. It's him and a couple people that run both of those businesses, and they've always given me a tremendous amount of support. And I hold them in a pretty high regard. To me, it's cool just having BR Motorsports on the side of the car, let alone the stuff that they generously do for me. So the Speedway stuff, like I said, after the Nebraska Cup last year, there really wasn't. I couldn't get out of the car and call my motor builder, who I love to death. You know, Brian. Is such a nice person. He's stayed with us in the past when he comes up for the Nationals. He took really, really, really good care of us. But with where we were at and what I'm trying to do and trying to accomplish with my program, I felt that was so far off that it would just be so much easier to go down the street. They kind of approached me with some options. Speedway did. And we were able to kind of put together some stuff, and that's why they're on the side of the car. There was a lot of people that thought that, you know, that I just put them on the side of the car to kind of stir, so to speak. But I am a businessman, and that side of that race car is a lot like real estate, and I'm not going to give that real estate away for nothing. So those people that think that, you know, that I put that sticker on the side of my car just to be a smartass is pretty ignorant. Would I do something like that?
But not far off.
Absolutely. I do enjoy stirring the pot.
So does
it
Tony
is
Stewart.
entertaining. Yeah, exactly. It's extremely entertaining. But they're there for a reason. I'm grateful and excited about my partnership with Zach Woods. I've worked with him in the past on 360 stuff, so I think that's going to be a really big change. I, without a doubt, don't think that there is absolutely any way, shape, or form that the last couple champion, you know, the champion that we've had the last couple years, I don't think he's got a prayer. After what I've raced against him the last couple years, he should have beat me a lot worse than he did. And knowing of what I have had and what I have going forward, I'm extremely excited about. But I've got a lot of really good people in place now that I've been working towards over the last couple years. You know, John Reifschneider's been a great addition to our team. He has a wealth of knowledge.
Is he the one that always has the stogie in his
No,
mouth?
that's Pickle.
Okay.
His name is Bill Dill, and that's no joke. His name is William Dill, so that's why we call him Pickle. But he does tires and drives the truck. John is my crew chief, and me and him work really, really well. There's a lot of times me and him really don't even need to talk about what we're going to do or what we're going to change because he can see it. He's driven before. He's been around me long enough. He adapts really well to almost every driver he's ever worked with has been fast out of the gate. And we've been really fast, but I feel we built a brand new car this year, and it's I always try to put nice equipment together, but this one is exceptionally nice. So we've changed. I worked with Dan at Maxim, and we changed a few things. I had a couple ideas and theories on some stuff. Kind of spitballed it with him over the winter, and we changed a few things. And so this chassis is kind of a collaboration and a mix between two different cars that they've already built, and then some of my ideas also. So it should be a really interesting year.
So we've talked a little bit about the plans. First race going to be the Rumble in the Bull Ring, or are you going to go south? Is it Cameron that's running that race the night before?
Our first race for sure will be Cameron. I would like to go to Devil's Bowl. I don't really know if I even have the time to go do that, to be honest. But it would be hard for me to go just because, the trip that I make to Texas to Houston is paid for. I make money in my trucking company. So to pass that up and go race for $700-800 or $1,000, it would be pretty tough. But we'll see how it goes.
All right, you're in the number 91 machine. Talk about some of them great sponsors you got on board. You've added a few in 2018.
Yeah.
19. Hey, it's 2019. Did anybody notice that?
Yeah. We added Kenny's Components. He built my my carbon fiber full containment seat, one of two SFI approved seats on the market. We also added Schroeder torsion bars and pack racing springs. And still have Simpson Race products, Pro Shocks again, Speedway's shock technology, Speedway motors, Baya headers, King Racing products, BR Motorsports. Trying to go through everybody that's on the side of my car.
What's 91 bar service?
I've dynoed my torsion bars week in and week out for the last couple years.
Okay.
But my crew chief actually owned the torsion bar dyno, and he was kind of getting tired of doing it. So I ended up buying it from him and started 91 bar service. It just kind of made sense with my partnership with Schroeder and Pack Racing Springs to be able to dyno torsion bars also and to kind of offer it as a service to other people. I know there is another torsion bar dyno in town, but it's not one that it gets used very frequently or without any resistance. So it's just something that I wanted to kind of offer the people I race against. You can have a 1025 torsion bar that is actually only 1,000 unless you know what you have. Unless it's been dynoed, you really don't even know. So just something I kind of wanted to offer people.
So it's not a sponsor; it's a product you're offering.
Yeah, it's another business that I decided to open over the winter.
Because you didn't have enough.
Right. Yeah. I needed more on my plate.
I'm the same way.
How long does it take to dyno a bar?
A few minutes, really.
So you can do 10 an hour and make a little money and buy another bar or buy a new tire or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, and then it also helped. It kind of helped me get the partnership or make the partnership with Schroeder Torsion Bars and Pack Racing Springs. So it kind of opened up the door for that. So, but again, that's a company that I wanted to do business with. They're not a huge company, and there's been some changes in the torsion bar world over the last couple years. That a lot of things that used to be really true and accurate and consistent aren't anymore. And Schroeder's kind of capitalized on that and changed a few things so that they can be consistent and accurate throughout the course of a season. So just kind of made sense to be partners with them.
You'll see him in the number 91 machine March 30th at Eagle Raceway for the Rumble in the Bull Ring, or if you head south, he's hoping to be down on that Friday night, the 29th, for the race at Cameron, Missouri. You can catch you both times. Racing probably weekly at Eagle Raceway, and then as a part of the Sprint Series in Nebraska, the number 91 of Adam Gullion. Always do appreciate your time, sir. Signing a Hoosier hat for us to give away. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't know. You're going to have to give it away. You're not going. It's not like anybody's going to pay for it.
No, I don't want it anymore. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back on the front stretch.
Finding a home can be the most important decision in your life. It's the simple factors of neighborhood, garage size, the school district, and commute that get overlooked by most realtors. Those are the aspects that Jim Blazina has been focusing on since 1988. From rental properties to your forever home, the Racing Realtor will work hard to get you exactly what you're looking for, and he can help list your home for a speedy sale. Contact Jim Blazina today, 402-980-8400, or jblazina at npdodge.com.
We all have that coworker that runs their mouth off at how great they are. They shot a 5 under par, 95-mile-an-hour fastball, bench press 375, brah. Wouldn't you love to shut them up by schooling them at Joe's Karting? Council Bluffs' premier indoor karting track, professionally designed so each corner is your opportunity to embarrass your coworker. Call Buddy for your next company outing at 712-256-5278. Joe's Karting, white knuckle racing just across the river on 23rd Avenue next to AMC 17.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole of the front stretch and the home of MAV TV, featuring action from the Lucas Oil Late Model Series.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Located on Mid-America Drive in Council Bluffs.
Feather the brake and get back to the gas. Dan and Dirk are headed into turn 3 on the front stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch. We're on into turn number 3. It's time to have another Redhook Fabrication interview brought to you by, the guys said, Redhook Fabrication, offering powder coating at an affordable price. Get your chassis powder coated for just $275. That's for a bare frame. Any reworking and sandblasting that needs to be done might be just a little bit more. So get a free estimate from Jordan by calling 712-623-4911 or email him jordanf@redhookfabrication.com. You'll get yourself a free estimate and save a little bit of money. Probably a guy who's sitting here, driver of the Bade Motorsports sprint car throughout the area, the number 21. Probably got a powder coated frame.
I think so.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was already done when I got to it.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm learning the benefits of powder coating for myself.
Yeah,
because and I'm following the Redhook Fabrication on Facebook, and some of the pictures they're putting out of some of the stuff they're powder coating is pretty amazing.
Powder coat's pretty good stuff. I'd like to get it done on the non-wing car, but sometimes it's a little pricey. But we might take up this offer and go get it done.
$275 for a bare frame. And so there have been a bunch of modified guys that have had their chassis done. Josh Most goes to them all the time and has his chassis done because they're right there in Red Oak together, so works out really well. All right, we're talking with Ryan Kitchen about his 2019 season. Going to be back at the Bade Motorsports number 21?
Yep, that is correct. We kind of solidified that deal a couple months ago, and sounds like we're going to kind of do the same thing again this year as we did last year. Just run Eagle if we want. And if there's another race we want to go to, we can do that again. So
a good year for you last year, and man, you came so close to picking up that win at Eagle, but just not able to make it happen. But still a solid year.
Yeah, really good year. We ended up 4th in points and actually getting the Rookie of the Year, which is kind of strange because I'm no rookie to sprint cars. But yeah, we got second, I believe, 4 times last year at the end of the year, and thought we were going to get one, but just ended up short every night.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can pick up this year where we left off and get one first couple nights.
You've had plenty of experience in a non-winged and quite a bit in some experience in a winged. How much of an adjustment was it in that 305?
At the beginning here was a lot of adjustment. I was used to driving, the car over on the right rear, and really, driving the car into the corner is different in a non-wing car than it is a wing car. And then with the horsepower difference was a lot to adjust to as well.
Yeah.
So, I'll say we sucked at the beginning of the year running the 305, but we just kept working at it and got more and more comfortable in the car. And
so it's quite a bit of an adjustment because that horsepower is what makes a big difference. If you make a little bit of a mistake, you've got the horsepower off the corner to be able to kind of balance that out and counter it a little bit. But if you've really got to be on your game for those 305s.
Yeah, you got to keep the car kind of freer. You bog those motors down, it takes you 2 laps to get back up to speed in them. So with 360, it's back on the gas, you're right back where you left off.
Does a track like Eagle kind of negate that a little bit to where it's such a short track that you're not off the pace for so long, or is that kind of the track you're talking about?
Yeah, Eagle is a little better at that since it's a shorter track.
Yeah.
But, I think any racetrack really you go to, there's going to be that little bit of time that it's going to take some time to get back up to speed.
That sprint series, the sprint series in Nebraska is going to be at I-80 a couple of times. That big of a track, is that going to be one that it's really going to be important to stay on?
Yeah, I think so. The deeper gearing you run there and the less horsepower, it's hard to get them going and keep them wound up.
Knowing that it will take you off your momentum a little bit, when somebody kind of slide jobs you and cuts off your momentum, is it that much worse in a 305 because they know what they just did to you? But if they did it to you in a 410, you're able to recover a lot easier.
Yeah, and it all depends on if you see them coming or not.
Yeah.
If you got more time to react to it, it might not be as bad. But when they're close and you got to stand on the brakes and try to get back underneath them, you kind of just screwed up your whole run down the straightaway.
Yeah. So last time I talked to you, we were going to try to play the match game. Turns out you were just withholding a little information from me.
Well, it was still a little fresh, and not many people knew about it. But, yeah, no longer single. So.
Any big changes coming with the 21 machine?
No, nothing too exciting. We're running the same stuff as we did last year. Just got a fresh motor under the hood this year, and actually 2 of them we got.
Any wingless stuff?
Yeah, we're going to run the non-wing car again. Just hit and miss that Power Eye series probably, and a couple USAC shows here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But, nothing too exciting changing this year.
No?
Nope.
Okay. You want to do anything else? You want to go race a Sport Compact once in a while?
I've done that before.
Yeah.
It was actually kind of fun because I hadn't been out of a car for like 3 or 4 months, so driving something was better than nothing.
That was a pretty big change for you.
It was.
It's amazing how much just that. Well, I mean, there's a lot of changes when it comes to a Sport Compact and a sprint car.
I was kind of surprised myself because I think we went down to Beatrice and ran that thing, and it was just for fun, and ended up having to run a B feature, which if they were trying the car, I figured probably had to run a B. But we drove the thing from like 17th to 6th in a 10-lap feature at Beatrice. And I couldn't finish in the top 5 because I didn't have an IMCA license at the time. So I had to kind of back off and finish a little worse than 5th. So
there's no tricks like that in racing.
I didn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So.
What big races are you looking forward to this year?
Biggest race, usually we run nationals out at Eagle, and another one is down in Wheatland, the Hockett Memorial. We run the non-wing car down there.
Yeah.
Those are our two biggest races of the year.
Are you going to try to go to Belleville?
Possibly.
Yeah.
I think so. Probably if they run that Tuesday night show, I think we'll go to that. And depending on the 305 Nationals they run down there.
Yeah.
Depending how we're doing in points at Eagle, if that's what we're going to run for.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of unfortunate that they schedule like that.
Yeah, but they do it.
Yeah. Nothing you can do about it.
Nope.
You can complain.
Yeah.
You think it's going to do any good?
Nope. Don't get you nowhere.
Usually it's going to make it. Usually it's going to make it worse if you complain to Roger Hayden.
Yeah. He'll just do something to get more cars at his track.
Ryan Kitchen driving the number 21 for Bade Motorsports. We kind of try to touch on a little bit. You're going to stick pretty much with that 305 and do a little non-wing stuff. Anything going out to Knoxville, trying to run a 360, anything like that?
We don't know yet. Maybe. Yeah. It's possible. Still working on it.
Well, would you ever go get your own engine?
Well, we got the 360 in the non-wing car.
Yeah.
So we can always put that in if we wanted, but just putting that much more wear and tear on my stuff, and that 360 is not
when it doesn't need to be.
It's not a very good wing 360. It's a real good non-wing 360, but not a good wing 360.
It's amazing how much it changes just putting that wing on.
Yep, it helps. So,
those non-wings are crazy.
Yeah.
They scare the bejesus out of me.
See, that's one thing with me. I don't get scared in them.
No?
Nope. Got in it.
First off, just a sprint car period, having the drive shaft go where it does that's enough for me.
Yeah. Luckily, that torque tube's there to keep it in there if it needs to be.
I don't trust it.
Come out,
I don't trust it.
Yeah. You got to have some, big things between your legs to let that thing go.
Yeah, and if it goes, you don't have any big things between your leg anymore. You may not have any legs anymore.
Yeah. But it's fun either way. It's a risk we take, though.
Yeah. It was so fun to watch because I've only got to see him for the last couple of years, but it was so fun to watch the difference between the two cars and how you enter the corner and you set up the corner. I was surprised so much watching the non-wing at I-80 how far they're still into the throttle in the corner, and before they kick that back end around, and you almost diamond the corner off more.
Yeah. Yeah, with the non-wing car, you really, if you get them too sideways and you're not on the gas, it's going to end in disaster every time.
Yeah.
So you really have to get the car turned into the corner and stay on the gas. Because once that right rear stops spinning, you're kind of screwed.
Ryan Kitchen driving the number 21. Who's your major sponsors to get you up and down the road to support your operation?
Bade Motorsports, Speedway Race Engines, Helget Construction, Onyx Wraps, Carpet Land. That's about all that's on the car, really.
Ryan Kitchen, best of luck. Again, we've been kind of asking guys, what's your first race this year? Are you going to go down to Cameron, or are you going to wait till Eagle?
Depends on if I can get that Friday off work. If we can, then we'll probably go. But kind of depends on the weather also.
It'll be fun. All right, man. Best of luck to you this year. Can't wait to talk to you in Victory Lane.
All right, thank you.
We'll see you. We'll be back on the front stretch.
Racers all over the country are discovering the benefits of powder coating their chassis. Powder coating offers a clean, even finish you will be proud to show off to fans and sponsors. Plus, it's a more durable surface. While looking beautiful, powder coating offers superior protection against corrosive chemicals typically spilled during routine maintenance. Bare frames start at $275 with estimates available if blasting or reworking is needed. Get your quote today by emailing Jordan F. at redoakfabrication.com or by calling 712-623-4911.
Hey, look at that. You're sitting on your couch playing Halo, Madden, or NASCAR while your friends are at Joe's Karting. Each lap is an adrenaline-filled, heart-pumping, white-knuckle experience that you can only get at the Metro's largest indoor karting track. Eco-friendly Honda engines rip you around the professionally designed road course at breakneck speeds. Can you reach the 14-second lap bracket? There's only one way to find out. Put the controller down and get to Joe's Karting, 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs next to Quaker Steak and Lube.
It's checkers or wreckers as we enter turn 4 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs.
Welcome back to it. Just about ready to wrap this baby up. We're going to talk about today's race at Auto Club Speedway. By the way, all the coverage is on the big screens at Quaker Steak and Lube, the official watering hole of the front stretch. Coverage is on Fox and MRN at 2 o'clock with all of your picks due by 2:30 today. Make sure you get your picks in on time so that you can stay in front of me, who is back in 70th spot.
Well, I'm in front of you.
I know. My girlfriend was pointing that out about how she goes, oh, hey, did you know I'm in front of the host of the front stretch? And I said,
one of them.
Then she goes, oh, damn it, Dirk's beating me. So she's coming after you. It's a long season, but it's a lot of fun. Make sure you get your picks in on time. And today is the final day to join the 5-week contest, the Kansas Speedway Crewman for a Day contest, presented by Rick Havenridge of Wealth Partners and powered by Starcom Racing. We talked about it a little bit last week, but I think the biggest thing we could just continue to talk about it is a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody that we've taken down there, even my own brother, who has had plenty of garage passes from, my working with NASCAR, and he's been to a lot of different racetracks. But for him to get to sit into the race and listen with a radio, he just said that was just so awesome.
Yeah. And it's something that really, if the only other way you would get it if you didn't happen to win this contest was you're going to have to pony up some sponsorship dollars to one of the teams. And that's the only other way you can get what we get. And for this weekend, you'll go down on Friday. We'd love for you to go down on Thursday. You'd be available to go down on Thursday. You sure can. Your passes are good for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And you can go down whenever you're free to and join the team and start moving tires around. Hang out with the team, and they're going to feed you when they cook their lunches and their dinners for all the team members. And you can go into the hauler and you can kind of walk around. And the marketing girls for Starcom Racing, Donna and all of them, take great care. They'll show you around the haulers. And then
Dirk
and I are going to get there on Friday afternoon. As soon as we get down, I get done with work, and we're able to go down to Kansas, and we'll meet up with you. We'll take you kind of around. We'll show you the OSS system, the new inspection system. We'll let you see how that goes, and you can even push the Starcom car through the tech inspection. Now, you got to get it there. You can't push it in. The teams have got to do that, but you're going to be able to do things that nobody else ever gets to do, because this is something that when Dirk came to the show, he created the idea, and it's been a phenomenal success. We've had a lot of really good stories, and Karen Smith and her husband had an absolutely phenomenal time last year, and every single person that has done these contests have walked away and just said, my gosh, I can't believe how awesome this was, how amazing it was.
And now Starcom is even doing the contest at some other races for their employees. And there's a company over out at Ankeny, Iowa that's doing some stuff with Iowa Speedway based on this contest, the same type of system. So it's obviously it's a pretty neat deal. It's worked out real well. You get photo op chances with drivers. If you've never...
I'm sorry to interrupt. That's something that we don't touch on a lot, is there's going to be some downtime when you're working with Starcom Racing, so you're free to walk around the garage, and you could run into your favorite driver or the driver you absolutely hate and meet them and actually talk with them, and maybe they're going to change your opinion. Maybe they solidify your opinion, but you're going to have the rare opportunity to be able to meet these guys as they're kind of walking around. You can camp out in front of their hauler and get an autograph from them if you want.
And it's depending on exactly how the weekend goes. I mean, I know some of these people people, and if I can get intros for you, I do. But I just can't promise it because they go out for qualifying and they have a great qualifying run. Yeah, they might be in the mood to chat a little bit, but, they scrape the wall or something. They don't want to be talked to. They got to go get their head back together and stuff. So I can never tell what's going to happen when we get to the track or who's going to be available.
Today is your last chance to get involved because the contest starts with today's race at Auto Club Speedway, so make sure you get signed up. 2 ways to do it. You can go to NASCARpoolsonline.com, and you can join the contest by using the ID code. But the easiest way to do it, because I can't remember the exact ID code off the top of my head right now, the easiest way to do it, just send me an email, frontstretchradio@gmail.com. I will then send you the link to get directly into the contest. It's free to join thanks to Rick Havenridge of Wealth Partners, a financial advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services. Get more at rickhavenridgeadvice.com. And then thanks again to Starcom Racing for helping us out, giving us the opportunity.
Speedway.
And Kansas Speedway gave us the passes, those 2 hot passes, which are very, very difficult to come by. And they are great, great partners of ours in giving us that kind of stuff. So if you want to get signed up for that contest, today is your last opportunity to do it. You're going to have to wait until the July race at Iowa if you miss out today.
And if you are down at the O'Reilly World of Wheels today, opens at 10 o'clock. We are going to be in our booth from 10 to 6. Obviously, you need to have your picks in a little after 2. But if you're wandering around and you decide that you haven't got in, stop by our booth, and Dan can give you the information. You can just do it right there on your cell phone.
Yeah, I'll slide my laptop around because we're going to have my laptop handy doing research and following all that stuff. So I'll have that ready. You can sign up through that, just like we did at Quaker Steak and Lube for the season-long contest.
So, it's free.
By the way, the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels car show today, like Dirk mentioned, 10 to 6. John Schneidler of Dukes of Hazzard, better known as Bo Duke, is going to be signing autographs and taking pictures from 1 to 4 today. And tickets are $18 for adults. Kids 6 to 12 are $6. Kids 5 and under to get in for free. But you can get discount tickets at all O'Reilly Auto Parts participating locations. Get $2 off your general admission tickets. Adults are $16, kids are $5. So you can save a little bit of money with that. Get down to the World of Wheels Auto Show today. All right, Dirk, let's talk about Auto Club Speedway.
But yeah, it's a multi-groove track. This is one of those tracks where when they go into the corner, 3-4 wide is not uncommon. There's palm trees down the back straightaway, which the first time I was at this speedway, I thought that's pretty cool. I like that. Very big speeds going into turn 1. I mean, very big speeds. We saw Kyle Larson totally dominate this race in 17. I mean, just smoked it. I mean, he won both races at the Speedway in 17 and then won both of them at Michigan. So he likes this track. Didn't have quite the luck there last year. But if you remember, this was the track where Tony Stewart was wanting to beat up Joey Logano.
Yep. Don't block me when I've got a chance to win, but I'll block you if I got a chance to not to save the win. Yeah, it's one of those double standard things, but that's pretty key in these. This time last year, you alluded to it, Kyle Larson came home runner-up after finishing 6th in Stage 1, 8th in Stage 2. Walked away with 43 points on the day. Martin Truex Jr. ended up picking the win, actually swept the day. Won Stage 1, won Stage 2, and won the race. 7 bonus playoff points and walked away with 60 points on the day. Kyle Busch came home 3rd, Brad Keselowski 4th, Joey Logano was your top 5. Denny Hamlin, Eric Jones, Ryan Blaney, Jimmy Johnson, and Austin Dillon rounded out your top 10. But
Martin Truex, as of yet, hasn't proved that he's really got the handle on this new aero package that they're going to be running out there. So, maybe take a look and see how he does in qualifying and his practice times and stuff, because he still might be the guy to beat.
Kevin Harvick was the worst of your typical top 10 finishers. He ended up finishing the day 35th. He was 9 laps down by the end of the race.
Yeah, he got in a crash like the second lap or something. A couple guys got together, and he was involved with that. Got down by 2 laps.
The race today, all the coverage is on Fox and MRN starting at 2 o'clock. Picks are due by 2:30. Make sure you get your picks in on time, and we can't say it enough. Make sure to swing by the World of Wheels car show down at the CHI Center and say hi to Dirk and I. We will have hats available for you to purchase if you haven't gotten your front stretch hat yet. That's going to do it for us today. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure to listen next weekend. Tyler Jerky and Stu Snyder, along with Shaylee Bade, will join us to preview their race seasons. We will recap recap what the results unfold for today's race at Auto Club Speedway, and we will get you set for next Sunday's race at Martinsville Speedway. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you to Quaker Steak and Lube for all their support. Thanks to Rick Havenridge, Jim Blazina, Red Oak Fabrication, Joe's Karting, all of our great sponsors, and thank you to all of our great listeners for tuning in and listening to us babble about racing for a full hour. If you missed any part of today's show, make sure to hear the extended version when we post the YouTube version at about 9 a.m. this morning. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us. We'll do it again next weekend when the front stretch rolls on AM 590.
Every race car driver has run into the same problem. It's well past normal parts store closing hours, but you need that one to finish your car. The guys who brought you white knuckle racing by the river bring you Joe's Karting Racing Parts and Tire Store. Open until 10 p.m. Monday to Thursday and open until 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. A parts store that fits your after-hours schedule, and you can turn a few laps at Joe's Karting while you're waiting for your part to get pulled from their warehouse. joeskarting.com for more information.
The official watering hole of the front stretch has you covered any day of the week with the best wings, great burgers, and amazing steaks. Each weekday from 4 to 6 is happy hour, featuring $1 off draft and well drinks plus $4 Luberitas. Mondays are kids' night. Tuesdays are all-you-can-eat wings for $12.95, and the lube even delivers to the Council Bluffs area. Like Quaker Steak and Lube Council Bluffs on Facebook for a full list of weekly events.
Get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Mid-America Drive, Council Bluffs.
This has been the Front Stretch Radio Show, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. To contact Dan or Dirk, find them on Facebook at The Front Stretch or email them at frontstretch590@gmail.com. If you missed any part of today's show or want to hear a previous show, subscribe to the Joe's Karting YouTube page, where you can find almost every Front Stretch show.